One of the reasons why, well, the reason why we want to have you on, of course, you were an iconic kicker, punter, kickoffs. Now we have the official rules that came out that kind of like, oh, by the way, here are the official rules. If you have to be a losing team in the game, and it has to be the fourth quarter, and you have to announce it. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the onside kick was something that was very special to football for a very long time. At any moment in the fourth quarter, or if your team was behind, there was a glimmer of hope that a kicker was going to be able to hit a perfect ball, and then the guys on the kickoff team were going to be able to make some miraculous play, and then, oh yeah, we got this thing that has like a 2% chance of success rate, but then also our quarterback's going to have to go now another 60 yards somehow against a defense that they haven't been able to do it all game, which is why we're behind. So it was like there was always a glimmer of hope. There was always something that you could hold at the end of the game and maybe get your team back into it. But with the new rules that came with the kickoff, with the no lead run up and the amount of players where they have to be, you can't overload, you have to keep they kind of eliminated it from the game by themselves. So the fact now that we'll never see a surprise onside kick again is a bummer. I was on the field whenever Thomas Morstead hit the ambush at halftime of the Super Bowl, obviously the biggest surprise onside kick in the history of the sport. They would go on to win a Super Bowl. And honestly, that was a wild night, incredible kick by Thomas, who was a rookie.
Could you sense it at the time, being a kicker, watching a kicker, like a pitcher has tells, with a pitch? Like, could you sense anything that was happening?
His little run-up was interesting, because I did some surprise onside kicks in our run with the Indianapolis Colts as well, and it was always cool to get that call, because anytime you're doing one of those, if you fail, you're giving the ball to the other team in very, very favorable position. And field position is literally what you're getting paid for when you're a punter and a kickoff guy. So I think you could see it in his run up a little bit. It might have been a little bit different, but Thomas Morstead, the guy that did that, actually taught me how to punt going into the NFL. So he and I, very tight, like very close friends. So whenever I see him pull that off, it's like, I'm pumped for him, but also this sucks because I'm supposed to have a Super Bowl ring at the age of 22. So it's like the surprise onside kick was a beautiful thing. And it used to be something that a lot of kickers took a lot of pride in. Like Sebastian Janikowski, he used to be able to hit a high hop off, especially over in the Coliseum whenever they played on that baseball dirt. He used to be able to hit a ball off of the ground, toe it, which hurts your groin, hip flexor, and your toe. You got to really sacrifice a lot. Hit that thing right in the ground, and it would bounce up through like to the third floor almost, and then come down. They would be able to get the jumper. Mason, whenever he was at the Packers, had a great one. It was like something that a lot of people worked on, and it was something you took a lot of pride in because if you had the opportunity to do it, you're actually affecting the game. It's a turnover. You're changing the game completely at the kicker position, which you can't always do. At the punter position, you can't always do. So it became something that guys started working on less and less and less. And then with the way the rules changed, it seemingly just kind of worked itself out. But now with the new kickoff rules, that's going to be weird to look at, I think, with the landing zone and where the team's going to be, where the kicker's going to be. Obviously, the XFL had it. The XFL doesn't have 49 million eyes on it whenever they're having games. It's a little bit different. So I think people are going to have to get used to that. But they're trying to keep it in the game. They're trying to evolutionize it all. But the onside kick, I think, has been sacrificed and compromised for a few years now, and now it's officially out, which is a bummer. I'm not happy about it at all.
Could you call an audible and do an onside kick when you were with the Colts?
Yeah, so the one I hit to myself against the Houston Texans was not called. I mean, that was all me. And if I don't get that, I just get up and just walk right out of that stadium. That's on Thursday Night Football. But the reason why that happened is because we hit a surprise onside kick to the left earlier in the season. We hit a surprise onside kick to the right earlier in the season. So teams started putting their hands teams up against us for every single kickoff. And that actually became the case study that NFL used for the iteration of the kickoff that it was, where you had 10 or 8 people up within 20 yards of the ball, because we faced the hands team for every single kickoff. So like I had the highest touchback percentage, like maybe in the history of the NFL, because teams couldn't set up a return. So I would hit that thing like 1 yard in the end zone. They would have to take a knee because their hands team was in there because they didn't want to get hit by a surprise onside. So I'm just stealing stats here. I'm loving everything about it. I don't have anywhere near the talent of everybody else, but we're lucking out. But they were on the right, they were on the left. The middle was wide open, as you can see in the thing. So yeah, I gave a little hamstring tap to my guys, basically said, stay out of there, hit it to myself. It worked out, and most athletic thing I've ever done in my entire life. But if I don't get that, Chuck Pagano says, just go ahead, quit, hang up the helmet, hang up the jersey.